Welcome to the show. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. More on them in a bit. Welcome everybody to the Anime-Versal Reviews podcast, where we review anime, just like the title says. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us today. Dr. Stone, man, I always hate missing a week. It sucks.
Yeah.
But the schedule, guys, I saw Funimation literally tweet out in one day that I can't remember which show it was, but hey, it's coming, but it's going to be late. And then it was like, no, it's not coming at all. And then it was like, it's not coming because we don't have the materials. And I'm like, materials for what? And it left me kind of confused, and maybe we'll get into a little bit of this in a little bit. But let me go ahead and introduce the co-hosts of this Stone Wars arc of Anime-Versal reviews. I am joined by Brian. What's up, bud?
Hey, man. And
of course, Christine.
Hi.
So, Brian, you and I kind of mentioned how odd that was, that materials and that they themselves don't even have an idea. Funimation, that is, which is funny because now they're owned by Sony. Anyways, dude, what fucking materials do you need for a dub?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we talked about that. I don't understand that. The bigger thing, for the issue I have is week to week not knowing if we're going to get an episode. And like, okay, we didn't get one last week. We got one this week. Cool. Are we getting one next week?
Yeah.
And there is, and I don't look, I'm not in the industry, so I don't know, but it's confusing to me that they wouldn't have an idea of what their schedule would be. And that they're winging it week to week.
Yeah, possibly. I just thought of someone I know directly that I'm very, very good friends with that did work in the anime industry that could potentially give us an answer. Jammer. Jammer used to do dubbing and logistics and God, I don't remember which company it was, but yeah, he was part of the One Piece podcast, like one of the biggest One Piece podcasts there is. So I will ask Jammer, Christine, could you hand me that mechanical pencil over there on the green book, please? And I will write that note down, ladies and gentlemen, and I will try to get you an answer for whenever we do come back. After Stone Wars is done, Christine and I and other members of the site that are all, and Brian, of course, that are all anime fans, we're gonna be looking for new movies, new shows, and like I said, I designed this thing to actually have potentially multiple reviews running at once. So keep you guys' ears and eyes open, and send some requests to at that Kyle Malone on Twitter, or Kyle at Kyle M, that's the letter M like Malone, my last name, at LRMonline.com. Ask Jammer about anime dub situation. Okay, hey, cool. So Steam Gorilla episode 5. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and it suffered a bit because of how awesome episode 4 was, but it was not a bad episode at all. Christine, do you agree?
Yeah.
Brian?
100%. Yeah, I'm not going to give the score now, but it's lower than I've been giving. Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. It was just so much greatness.
Also,
last episode.
The opening of it, I think it felt like they were retreading stuff they didn't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a couple wasted minutes. Yeah, definitely. What else did you think, Christine, initially?
I don't know. It's just kind of at first just watching and just like with what Brian just said, just like, okay, yeah, need I don't need to hear this part. Can you continue on? But yeah, it was good, and I was just ready for them to, to get
Moving.
everything started. Yeah.
Legitimately get moving. Brian, any other initial reactions before we start breaking down the episode?
No.
All right. Well, like Brian says, it opens up and they're going over the automobile, basically the steam engine that they built. They're showing it, run away and making jokes, and Magma decides that he's gonna take on what they've dubbed the steam gorilla, because back in the last episode, it's Kohaku said it's like they made a living thing. Yeah, I can see where you guys are like, yeah, it covers things all over again, but it was kind of fun to watch Magma hold the tank or the vehicle for a moment before finally being ran over by it, and it did a good job of showing like the power of the steam engine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Magma's a strong dude. He held it. He threw freaking Senku up from that mica pit and stuff. And then we get a really cool, fun scene with Kohaku and Ginro when he talks about the machine being like a stronger gorilla than Kohaku, and that made me laugh pretty hard, especially when she beats him up and he's all like, isn't Chrome supposed to take these beatings? And like, I really wish he was here.
Yeah. That was cute.
What'd you guys think about those types of interactions? Not necessarily the retreading, Brian, but the new stuff with like Kohaku and Ginro and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean the comedy bits were fine, but it was a little odd because at the end of episode 4, I thought it did a great job of explaining, okay, this is what we've built and this is the purpose.
Yep.
And so for 4 or 5 minutes to sort of reestablish that. And then, like you said, they did work in a few little jokes and some character moments, which was fun. But
Christine, anything to say about that?
I just the whole Magma part where it's like, I could take this on, like, oh god, here we go, and it's like, this isn't gonna end well for you, dude. And I love that.
Anybody think I'm almost. And again, guys, we're not watching the subtitle. None of us are reading the manga. We are Dr. Stone virgins, okay? Hey, besides season 1 and what we're through already. But I'm fairly confident now, Christine, that Magma's at least throughout the Stone War, at least through the last episode, I think he's team Senku, Ishigami Village all the way. I don't see him being a betrayer.
No, of course not. Yeah, I think he's all in. He is still
an ass,
a meathead.
Yeah,
and and it's enjoyable seeing him like that, and also seeing like his character growth. So it's been enjoyable watching him.
Brian, we've been wondering about Magma for a while, whether or not he would seek out Tsukasa and whatnot. How do you feel about him now?
It seems like he's being played as a comic character at this point, although I do want to see him interact with Tsukasa. I want to see sort of a discussion and see if that'll be the moment we see exactly what happens with Magma. I think I want to see that because Tsukasa's smart enough to be able to, I think, zero in on who he could potentially use. And so I think if he sees Magma, he would think, let me talk to this guy.
Yeah, and I could almost see Magma not necessarily betraying them, but maybe if he does show down with Tsukasa, like he's beaten and humbled to where he's just like out of the fight almost. You know what I'm saying? Like I see that more possible than necessarily him betraying them, but Brian's got a good point. When Tsukasa starts talking to him, he might change his mind.
I don't know. I think that Magma realizes that, he's not going to be on top in any
That's a
situation.
good point, Brian.
That is a good point.
Yeah. Good job, Christine. High
Thank
five.
you.
Respond, Brian. Defend your stance.
Well, it would only depend if Tsukasa approaches it from. He would have to convince Magma that the Kingdom of Science is not the way to go. That his version of governing makes more sense in their world. But then again, he has had enough time with Senku to see the benefits.
Yeah,
and I don't know if at this point he'd be willing to give all that up. I don't know. But then again, going back, the way he was talking to Chrome, like, hey, dude, you can still do science, just my restricted version.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see. As Senku in the village is packing up, Senku cuts Kohaku off when he mentions about feelings, and he's like, no, I'm not sentimental or anything, but you could definitely tell he is. That village and everything, well, basically that's the last gift from his father, from Bakuya, that we know of. He got the message on the record, the glass
the time
record,
capsule,
and the 100 Tales, and of course all of those friends that are descended from the ISS crew, and I think he is definitely a little sentimental, but I'm wondering what Kohaku was going to say, because I don't think they revisited it. She never tried to get his attention again. Do you have any ideas, Christine? Or
I have no idea what she was going to say, but I guess maybe it was just like, I'll let it be.
Yeah.
And so maybe she'll say it later, or
maybe we're reading too much into it. Brian, did you read anything into her, like Senku, and then he's like cutting her off?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then we'll continue on. Chrome in jail, we get to see real quick, and Tsukasa's got his guys digging holes, and no one knows why, but we see spring is coming, and there's definitely some time jump, and we get some testing of the steam engine, and a good traffic law joke. Senku talking about driver's licenses, and Gen having to be the one to drive them. But the problem is that wooden tires, they suck. You don't have shocks or anything like that. So Senku develops airless space tires with woven bamboo.
that was really smart. It was fun.
I didn't think of that. I thought they were going to go for treads,
Yeah.
And nope. I was shocked. Brian, what'd you think?
I agree. I thought we were going to get treads. So, yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah. The best part, and one of the first things Christine caught up on, was all of the guys getting obsessed with the mechanical engine, the car.
Yeah.
Showing that at least the Japanese believe that type of thing is inherent. So it was a fun scene. I enjoy it. I like how Senku calls it a mech. He doesn't call it a car. He does use the word tank a few times, but he keeps referring to it as their mech. And
I can respect that.
Yes, I can too. Absolutely, Brian. No spoilers or anything. You guys will be listening to this hopefully on a Saturday afternoon as soon as it comes out, and I will hopefully be already watching Godzilla vs. King Kong with my son at the theater. Our triumphant return to the big screen.
Yep.
Since Sonic the Hedgehog. Before all the villagers leave, though, we get a great another comedy bit with Kasuke and him being all sad about Chrome being captured, and we're all worried about Chrome. No, he's not worried about Chrome. He's upset Chrome missed out on the science build.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then I'll wrap up the whole part at the village, and that is the elders and I called it as soon as I saw them all standing together.
Yeah,
I
it was
said,
obvious.
they're not going. And they break it down to Senku. We think you built this for us, so we wouldn't slow you down. He says, "Nah, I just like to build things," but it's a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true. They would slow them down. They can have more space for what they needed to do, more food, more equipment, all of that. Tsukasa's not as likely to slaughter a bunch of elderly people
Yeah, exactly.
at Ishigami Village. Like, I could see him leaving, tearing the village apart to search for caches and weapons, or, plan something he could use against Senku, but I don't see him murdering them. And I think they figure the same. And then they tell Senku, "We believe you'll defeat Tsukasa before we would be threatened." And so they agree to stay at Ishigami Village as Senku takes his empire on the road. And that breaks down the first half of the episode. Probably a bit of the more disappointing part of the episode, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Brian, anything else you want to talk about on the village, the villagers, what they had to say or whatnot? Not?
No, it made complete sense, though, from their point of view, that you're going into battle. Yeah, you want it bloodless, but you need to be focused on the task at hand, and worrying about us would be slow you down. So it made sense.
Yeah, I always thought it was kind of weird how it's like they're all wanting to pack up and go. And it's like, but the elderly and the children, why would you take them? Why wouldn't you like set up somewhere a little off? Yeah, where it's like kind of nearby, but like nearby the village, but kind of like, build a little temporary place for them to stay and be safe.
Or maybe take them on like the first, 2 or 3 hours of the trip, and then be like, head, for 6 hours, go due west, and then stay there, and that's where we'll find you. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would have worked too, but I think what they're doing is fine as well. And then our crew begins their move. Kohaku promising to return with the flag of science raised high. And you get a cool little marching scene, and off they go to set up camp. And I have no way to segue Grow Generations, so I'm sorry, guys, but I'll tell you what, we are going to hear some awesome stuff about some of the great products that they got over there, and you guys can check them out right now.
PowerSI produces some of the most cost-effective nutrient products on the market. They show visible and fast results, and they are in a unique position to work with some of the top extractionists around the country.
Thank you guys very much for sponsoring the show. Make sure you guys go check them out over at growgeneration.com. I am really interested in kind of learning a little bit more about some of these products myself for obvious reasons. So thank you guys. Brian, we're moving on now into battle. Like, spring's here. Tsukasa's ready to move. Senku's ready to move. We see as they're traveling that the steam gorilla doesn't have all the power in the world that they wish it did. Gin has been trying to keep them on level ground. They finally come up on a hill. They can't make it over. They're trying to push it. And then that's when Senku gets, an evil grin and the evil idea. And basically they're like, we're gonna set up camp now, and we're gonna make some modifications. And he sends Kohaku with the telescope, which is cool. Like, recycling again, right? She mentions that.
Reusing, yeah.
Yeah. And Brian, I thought it was brilliant to bring the telescope to go and try to scout out the Tsukasa Empire, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Completely makes sense to take the things that are you can move. Matter of fact, the elderly mentioned that you'll be able to bring more science stuff.
Yep.
With us not being in there.
Yeah, absolutely, and food too. I think did they say food? Well, I'm thinking of food. I'm hungry. At a waffle before we started. The evil grin is basically Senku who figures we're gonna upgrade this thing. He thinks, we should have made two pistons instead of one, and yada yada yada. While Kohaku's searching the Tsukasa Empire for information, she notices Suika sneak off, and Suika goes and spies on Tsukasa's empire. She sees the cave. She sees where the main living quarters are at, and where a bunch of guards are at, and she ends up right there in front of Chrome, and Chrome actually sees her. And he gives her, lets her know basically, I see you, I'm alive, I'm okay. I didn't worry about her. I knew she would be safe because it's Suika and she's freaking awesome.
Yeah, plus like she's done this before where she's spied. She knows how to be, sneaky and stealthy.
Very, very sneaky. Yes. Chrome is turning out again to be one of my favorite characters this season. Brian, are you enjoying him over there at Tsukasa Land?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And I like we'll get to that later, but yeah, everything they're doing with his storyline, especially in the last episode, I'm very much enjoying.
Yeah, absolutely. Suika comes back with the information on the group and relays it. Kasuke and them are like, that was real dangerous and everything, but she's like, we got to go save him. He's in danger, and that's when Magma's like, well, let's just run in there, murder them all, surprise them, and Senku, of course, is not down with the murder, but he is down with the rushing in to save Chrome, and that's where they decide to, build the tank that we've been guessing is coming from the opening credits, but we have still not seen that version yet. I was when they started talking about armor. And he said steel's too heavy. I was like, he can't make aluminum at all, right? And no, he can't. He says paper, but it's not paper. They bring back Mecha Senku to teach us a little bit about making paper, though, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
But he then gets an awesome, he completes the science of creating this paper shield, right? Not telling everyone the type of glue that he used and what he's actually created. And one of the coolest moments is Kinro with the glasses, the Mr. Rules are the rules, trying to save Senku and be like, dude, we're going to go against, what's his name? The spearman? Homura's lover.
The spear guy. Let's just the spear guy.
I can't remember.
Don't know.
Have it in these notes.
He's like that. These a good spearman can knock down a tree, and he shows them, and then Senku's like, well, let's test it. Let's test my paper shield, and he says, come at me full speed. Gives him a real spear with a real metal tip, not stone, not practice, not the foam tournament stuff, and Senku takes a full blast from it. What did you think was in that glue, Christine? Did you have?
I had no idea. I was just like, I know that he's gonna be okay, but of course I thought he was gonna be like knocked back or something, but I knew that the shield would hold. Like, you've done something, so I don't know what it is, but okay.
actually half expected it to penetrate enough that it would have like nicked him, but it would have stopped the majority, and that's what I expected to happen. What'd you think of the scene, Brian, before we reveal what Senku fucking invented?
This was one of my dumber moments with this show where I just couldn't figure it out because I was sitting
Neither
there.
Could I.
And because usually I'm like, all right, I can sort of work through it. And this one, I was just like, no, that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what did he do? Because I'm thinking, was he just, even stacking, multiple paper? I was like, no, that doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-mm.
But yeah.
So he basically uses a special type of plastic and this special paper that he's made and heat, and creates the space age material we know as carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And yes, indeed, carbon fiber is an incredibly tough material. Very similar to Kevlar in the way that it stops things by its meshiness, enabling it to be very, very, very thin and very, very effective. When he said carbon fiber, it blew me away. Brian, what'd you think about that?
Same. I was just like, oh, well, shit. There you go. Because
I was
like,
literally-
oh, that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, I was literally wide-eyed, like, wow, I can't believe that. Like, I was really surprised. Because like when you take paper and you fold it a whole bunch of times, I figured it'd be something like that where it would just be really strong and it would be, so maybe something like that. Like and then like whatever he used in between, but I didn't see that coming. So, yeah, that was...
And that's another one of those sort of game changer inventions, going forward, what he could use that for.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even, we all have questions about what the archer, what was his name last episode? Oh, Ukyo. We all have questions about what he's up to, but these paper shields would block his arrows with no problem. And that's a big deal. And we know that it can stand up against Kinro attacks. So it will at least slow the other spearmen down, I believe. Yeah, anyone else got anything to say about the paper armor? I just love that Kohaku's like, he's going to need a few minutes because he still took the full hit, even though he's okay. He's all shaky and stuff. We get to see Kasuke be all sad that they're gonna tear apart his beloved, what do you call it, cute or adorable or something steam gorilla. Yeah, and then he learns that no, we're gonna upgrade it, and he goes Super Saiyan, and Kasuke.
And then of course I had to ask, like, how many shirts does this guy go through? Because of course it just rips right off. That's fun.
I liked the line, Brian. What'd you think about the line of what he said when he's like, imagine how many pelts we could have saved if we had invented paper earlier.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, fucking carbon fiber. And like Senku even said, with paper, they've got the ability to write, make blueprints easier, but life is good with paper. I'm reading off of paper now. We learn what's going on over at the jail. The spearman asks Tsukasa, hey, why are we holding Chrome out in the open like that? Why is he so accessible? And one guy, the guarding Chrome, has to go pee. Almost falls in a pit trap filled with punchy sticks, which those airless tires, it might stop the vehicle, which sucks because those are all strong guys and can fight Senku's military. But the airless design of the tires is really smart, and because they're that big, also really smart. That shows to me Senku was thinking like 4D, thinking ahead, thinking that Tsukasa might even.
Yeah, but the tires did get an upgrade too.
And they do. He gets the studded ones on them. Which again, even more less likely to be affected by the punchy sticks.
Yeah, but it's gonna stop the vehicle.
Right.
So
Exactly. Which is where I think the treads will come eventually. But here's the kicker. Brian, Tsukasa guessed it. He knew it. He said he's already got coal. He could already do gunpowder. It's not that hard to get to steam. They're gonna come at us with a steam engine. I was dude. I did not. I know Tsukasa's smart. I did not think he would guess Senku would be headed for a steam engine that fast. I was surprised. Were you, Christine?
yeah, it's like this. You've got this smart person, but yet he's a hypocrite. And you'd think someone that was so smart wouldn't be so dumb, because the way he thinks, his ideas on life is just really ridiculous, in my opinion. And it's kind of like interesting, but also infuriating, listening to him speak. So yeah,
it showed me a lot of how dangerous he is, Brian. When he started describing Senku's plan and his trap, like, I kind of got cold.
Well, this whole time, we've looked at Senku as the brains and strategy, and he's yes, they have the might over there, but he's always going to be maybe a couple steps ahead. He's always going to be able to outthink a situation. This scene was sort of showing us, no, when it comes to strategy, these guys are a lot more even. So that definitely changes the dynamic of this war, and what how it's going to play out.
Definitely. And again, we get an amazing moment with Chrome, who realizes what's going on, that Senku's probably coming with some sort of vehicle and something that'll move, and that he now has to get free himself to save them. And Kohaku thinking, and I think this points to that familial side of the relationship thing. Like we mentioned last week, does she or does she not have feelings for him? Is it more familial or not? She even brings up, what if Chrome figures out a way to escape, and we won't have to waste the steam gorilla, because Senku's like, this is a one and done. We're going to go ram it, save our guy, and run away. And that's kind of, where we end, except we get Chrome going, I am Chrome, the science user. I wish they would have went with scientist again, like they did earlier and last season when he made the switch from sorcerer to scientist. But his determination, his figuring things out, their focus on him, I swear he's like my favorite character in this show, and I love Senku and Kohaku. I love the whole crew, but just for me, I love the arcs of Chrome and Gen the most. And Brian, I know you got some things to say about Chrome in this ending scene, so go ahead.
Well, yeah, and like you said, the whole idea of him having the foresight to say, I'm going to get out of this situation, therefore my friends won't have to deal with this trap. But there was a great line with Tsukasa about the weakness of Senku.
Yes. I forgot about, please, Brian, say it.
But basically his friends, and he's like, of course he's going to come save his friends. That is his weakness. And
sentiment or compassion.
And yes. And the fact, we've been talking about this bloodless war this whole time, and, the two sides playing each other. But the fact that of all the things that Tsukasa has figured out, yes, he's predicted and knows what inventions that Senku has made, but he also knows what kind of man Senku is. And he's going to use that. And I'm very curious to how far they will go with this. But, this goes back to my earlier thoughts that there will be a loss, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the Stone Wars for a reason. It's a limited series. I do have good news for everybody. I already shared it with Brian. I would have shared it with you guys last week if they would have dropped the episode. But season 3 or season 2 or the next chapter, whatever you guys want to call it, is officially in production. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this will not be the end of Dr. Stone in animation format, which means we won't have to just review manga chapters. Which Jammer said the Shonen app is actually really, really like valuable if you're into reading manga, especially Shonen Jump series. So I don't know. So maybe something to look at in the future. This episode, guys, like we all said at the beginning, kind of suffered just because of how great last episode was. I have no idea where they go next, except I still think we're gonna get treads. Because I think somehow Senku's gonna guess the pitfalls or get warned about them by Chrome or whatever. The death. Let's just try to guess, Brian. Do you have a guess at who you think might die, or at least what side might lose someone of importance? I mean, not random hench guy that gets poisoned.
we talked about magma a lot at the opening, and perhaps magma sacrifice could be interesting. You know, I don't know. I'm thinking of a character that's a big deal, but at the same time, the show could continue on without them pretty easily.
Yeah,
and that would be one. A Chrome, that would be that would be devastating.
Yeah.
I would hope not.
Please don't do that. I don't think so. I think at least through the Stone Wars, I think Kohaku, Senku, of course, Chrome, I think those 3 are safe. I agree Magma is on the table. I think Gen is on the table from Science.
Yeah.
And I think Kasuke, guys. That's my bet is Kasuke. And again, I think it'll be some sort of elder sacrifice thing, like, thank you, Senku, for letting me be a part of this, but I'm already older. I can't go on anyways. Christine's going to cry.
Don't get me emotional.
I do. I think it's going to be Kasuke, guys. If anyone dies, that's of consequence. That's my bet.
No, that's too hard.
What do you think then, Christine?
I think Brian's onto something with Chrome, even though I think that would really suck. I think any loss would suck a lot. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be crazy to see what's going to happen next. So I'm looking forward to it.
I noticed
yet not, because of the loss of someone.
I noticed none of us think necessarily a big, we haven't seen Homura. We know she's been captured, right? Yeah. She was captured by them. We don't know where she's being held or anything like that. It's I don't see there being a big Tsukasa death. I could see maybe some random henchman, like the one that almost fell in his own pit trap trying to take a piss.
Yeah.
But
no, I think maybe he will go.
Tsukasa?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
That is a theory I thought for a moment, Brian. We know there's more to this story than just Senku and Tsukasa, because of at some point we gotta talk about how they got to where they're at, right? So do you think Tsukasa might not last, that we might get a new bad guy? Like, I'd kind of be upset.
I would be, but if there's a better villain out there, maybe. And the whole reason I've even, I bring this up almost every episode is, A, it's called War, and B, they took so much time. Every single episode they go out of their way to use the word bloodless. which
Yes.
means that is the emphasis. And if you're focusing on that so much in the story, it makes you think that they're not going to accomplish that goal. But if there's another villain that could pop up, maybe this would wrap up this particular arc completely, and we go in some other direction. But you know what? I wouldn't count it out. That's a good point.
Well, there you guys go. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. I gave this episode overall a B+. I little disappointed in the beginning, but I really like the stuff with Chrome. I really like the thoughts that this episode brought up in its second half, and I loved the inventions. And any episode with Mecha Senku gets an extra half point from me. So I like how he told us the alternate chemicals you can use to make paper safer at home.
Yeah, that was nice.
So, Brian, what'd you give the episode?
For me, this one's going to be a B-.
Okay.
A B-. I just think it took too long to get going, and I didn't feel it needed to.
Okay. Completely understandable.
Oh, it's funny. I'm in the middle. I'm B.
Well, here you guys have it. We've I think that's the first time we've ever just gammeted a letter like that. Solid episode. I mean, guys, a B is when you're talking when you're talking about a show this good, a B is like another show's A. A B- is like a regular show's A, right, Brian? I mean,
that's still a really high score. It just,
you can't compare to last episode.
No.
We haven't yet. Last episode, guys, if you are just now joining in and skipped it for some reason, go back and watch. I've rewatched episode 4. Have you rewatched episode 4, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah. It's great. Love it. Anyone got anything else to say before we wrap it up?
I do.
What's up?
And I was just now thinking about it. We've been, talking about all of this, and I kind of wish that we knew more about how Tsukasa got people to stay on his side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did, because there's like different, I don't know all of the tactics that people use, like for example, like in cults and stuff like that, in order to get people wrapped up on your side. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. And it's like, what did you do? What did you say? Obviously, like they had that one episode where, like the girl's just lying around doing nothing, and the guys are doing all this work, and it's like, I know that's one of them, keep them busy. But like, what have you been saying to them? Like, I just kind of wish that I knew more. And I don't think that, how the episodes are going, that we're going to get that chance to see what he's been doing.
I would, I can agree that I would love more too. I will say I'm okay with how Nikki explained it. And she's just like, there's something about him. Not everyone's here happily, like, loves everything about him. And not everyone is here because they like him or are loyal to him, but he's just got a way about him. And that word cult is pretty powerful, Brian. People talk about, cult of personality. We start looking at actual cult. And like Christine just brought up, some of the tactics, keeping people busy, being charismatic, speaking, using big words. What do you think about that idea? Is the Tsukasa Empire a cult?
Yeah, I mean, to it somewhat. I mean, I definitely see. There hasn't. We were told that he's charismatic, and we were told, that's sort of one of his abilities and how he gets these people to do what he wants. But there is a level of, and this coming from someone who grew up on '80s cartoons, it doesn't faze me that much. But there is a level of nameless goons in his crew,
Yes.
You know, that are just there doing stuff, and you don't have any real depth to them. You have the higher tier guys that have names, and then you have the ones that are just there. And it would be nice, and maybe we'll get that, where there's a scene where he gathers everyone for a big speech, you know, about the importance of what they're doing and their goals. So, you know, maybe we will get that. But yeah, I understand that that thought, you know.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, guys. Well, thanks again to our sponsors. Make sure you guys check them out in the links in all of the descriptions below, where you're listening on the article, the SoundCloud or Spotify or on YouTube. Thank you guys. Check that out. Subscribe. Check all those channels out. We are working on our branding of the Genreverse by LRM Online Podcast Network. The Genreverse Podcast Network is what we will be eventually transitioning to. So don't freak out when you guys start seeing new graphics. We're not stopping being LRM. We have not been bought. We're broadening our horizons to include all the great things like anime, music. LRMornings is going to start covering horror stuff on alternating Fridays, and we're expanding and broadening. So Christine doesn't do social media. Brian, go ahead and plug thyself. No, don't do that, please. God, that's like Christine earlier today. Brian, go ahead and plug your social media stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. The channel's PulpMythos, PulpMythos, one word. And currently doing shows like City on a Hill and Snowfall. So check those reviews.
There you guys go. Oh, find me at that Kyle Malone on Twitter, at that one Kyle Malone on Instagram. And thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week.